Tanglin Halt, situated in the Queenstown area of Singapore, is one of the first satellite towns to be built in the 1960s, as an answer to the surge in population right after the Second World War. The Malayan Railway would stop by this area to exchange key tokens with the station master to authenticate that they are on the right tracks. It is said that that's how Tanglin earned the halt in its name. The low-story buildings are an icon of this estate, but are slated for demolition in 2021 to make better use of the land space for the current era. Some of the residents have already moved out, giving this quaint neighborhood a post-apocalyptic feel. We toured the back alleyways, and as usual, Sonia finds something growing in the wild to feed us. Tanglin Halt also has one of the highest number of home temples in the estate. This harks back from the kampung days where residents ran places of worship within their residence. This practice was carried over to housing flats when the villagers came over. Home temples are meant to be temporary and is not meant for public worship. However, that last bit is a grey area and hard to enforce. The sight of the ominous red glow and scent of incense creeping out of someone's home is a declining trend. In Tanglin Halt, you can find temples dedicated to various deities, both in heaven and in hell. Their imposing effigies line red altars blackened with soot. One particular temple we visited was dedicated to the monkey god, and it so happened to be the deity's birthday when we visited the place.
Protect lah. If someone do something to
can follow the people. Some people sick can follow you do the thing. Can.
okay.
Some people go gender go for you. What they want gender. Always.
Prevent lah.
Guan thousand hand Buddha.
You can place so many hands.
Yeah.
One hand also can. The Guan Yin so very big. Can put so many hands.
Then the below one is the hell emperor. Next, we interviewed a long-time resident of Tanglin Halt. Anita is the third-generation owner of the Tanglin Halt property. She has stayed here all her life and has some rather personal paranormal encounters to share. How much of Tanglin Halt has changed since then?
A lot. There used to be a lot of riots, the gangs, and then we didn't dare to go down. I think there was one girl who got raped actually, and that incident was here at this same playground. So another incident was another girl also got raped. She was young and she was murdered or killed over here. I do not know whether that is a spirit that's always lingering around. So it's like that. So that rape case was like a big issue, and then Tanglin Halt was seriously notorious. We had Indians, we had Malays, we had Chinese gang, correct? And every time we see at the coffee shop, we're just so afraid to hang around with them because they will extort money or they'll try to be funny with you, that kind of thing. So parents, of course, were afraid that, shouldn't be hanging around. What I've heard is, of course, about the railway track that runs behind. I think now they already closed it, overgrown leaves and trees. But there used to be the Malaysian railway that passed through, right? So since young, we've been told that not to go after 7 o'clock. I mean, of course, all the Malays would know this, that do not go after 7. There's a Pontiana, and then they also say there's a headless corpse that they see. Although I've not seen it for myself, but they say there's a headless corpse that can be seen actually. I mean, by chance, if it wants you to see it. Okay, let's just put the word it. So what they say was because a lot of people committed suicide, I think maybe depression, or last time they call this loan shark, along this and that. This is why I heard that they couldn't pay.
Sri Muniswaran Temple first started as a shrine in 1932 when Malayan railway employees living in Queenstown planted a sulam, or a trident, and a triangular stone in an atap hut under a banyan tree. This wooden hut was known as the Muniandi Temple. There were many such shrines that lined the tracks in those days, and the workers brought with them their gods and beliefs from their home countries. Some prayed for divine protection, others were offerings to appease angry spirits. Both served the same purpose: to prevent supernatural hauntings. The railway tracks too were used for other purposes. Suicides and unnatural accidents were aplenty. Famous urban legends from this area are sightings of headless apparitions walking the tracks, supposedly from people who had died here and are looking for other souls to replace them in the afterlife. On the other side of the railway, across from Tanglin Halt, is Wessex Estate, a rustic neighbourhood of black and white colonial buildings that once housed troops in the 1950s, but is now an enclave for the arty types who are attracted to the old world charm. We had heard rumours of an abandoned water tower that was used as a site for devil worshipping, and we wanted to investigate it for signs of residual haunting, but the metal leather had rusted away, and all that's left is a graffitied structure. The only evidence we could find of Satan being linked to this place is a spray-painted tag, Stan. Perhaps it was a misspelling by one of the cultists. And kids, this is why it's important to stay in school, or you might summon the wrong entity into your circle. Seeing nothing else of supernatural interest here, we cut out of the forested area and made our way to the area under the bridge.
So, Eugene, where are we now?
We are now at a very romantic section of Tanglin Halt, which is under a bridge. Above us is a flyover, and we are now somewhere right underneath. And do you know about the folklore of bridges in Singapore, at least?
Talking about like human sacrifice.
Yes. In fact, even as recent as 2020, they found human remains under a bridge at Kallang Bahru.
Oh yes, I saw that in the news. They found like some worker found bones underneath. You know what's interesting?
What?
You know that this is not just a Singapore-only myth. In fact, around the world globally, they actually have this as well. Very similar. For example, in Japan, they have this term called hitobashira, which actually means human pillars, and it's the same principle that you have to sacrifice a child or woman normally to actually make the bridge strong. They even do it for castles there, and even in Bangladesh, just recently 8 people were killed because of rumors such as this, where they actually believe that the 8 of them, they were actually building the bridge, and the rumors were that they were kidnapping children to kill for the bridge.
As interesting as the history is, would you happen to have any dark stories or any supernatural
thing?
Okay. See, white figure, yes, directly, but not so clearly.
Yes, it's just translucent.
Yes, correct. This thing exists lah, but just mind they mind their own, because
the reason we ask is because so many accidents have happened along the railway as worshippers come, when they have accidents with the train and stuff. So having heard those stories, we wonder,
most of the accidents occur, they commit suicide.
They commit suicide.
Yeah, they commit suicide or some overdose.
Sharing a story with us the other day, where you heard sounds at night. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Okay, sounds like branches drop on the roof, then scratching sound on the roof. Scratching sound.
Did it sound like it was nails?
Nail sound.
Nails on a zinc.
Clear, loud and clear nail sound. Because it's the middle of the night.
Yes.
You can see, you can hear it right on top of your head.
Yeah, as you can see, the most itself is made up of
zinc.
zinc.
Yes. So the roof is all zinc, and what you hear is it sounds like nails scratching on the zinc roof. And then you also shared with us a little bit about a ball that was moving by itself.
By itself, yes. When the azan prayer call, I see the ball down there moving by itself. And that's true.
Wow.
And sometimes over there also, I told you before, right?
Area around the mosque is rumored to be the home of a few Pontianaks, the apex predator of Asian mystical folklore, a blood-sucking creature dressed all in white with long black hair. After listening to the confession about paranormal activities in the area, we wanted to take a look at what might be the possible cause of this haunting. The sun has set and our torches are out. I can't tell if the place has the bad juju vibe going on, or we were still spooked from the stories we heard. Chi-Chi, who was usually calm, seemed a bit tense and kept running off to the sides, chasing shadows. Our videographers, Wayne and Manish, who were at the rear, kept turning around. They felt like they were being followed.
Yeah, throw this here.
Yeah.
That one I saw a lot in Bhutan.
Sonia was happily catching frogs, however. The path led us towards Ben's deck, a beautifully crafted raised platform that was handmade by a nearby resident. What Ben probably didn't know is that he built his site on an area where there had been a major explosion. Historically, the place that we were on had a dark past where many lives were lost.
This deck I'm sitting on is built by a man named Ben. He lives in a cul-de-sac very nearby here. He built it for his own enjoyment, to come out, enjoy this little pocket of forest, and for the children of this area to come play. But what people don't know is that this area has a very dark past. In 1922, there used to be 30 oil tanks just in that area behind me. This is called Normanton Oil Depot, once upon a time. So in 1942, during the Japanese invasion, to prevent this resource falling into the hands of the Japanese, the British employed something they call scorched earth policy, and that is to themselves destroy their own resources, their own logistics, to prevent it from falling into enemy hands. And the westernmost part of this oil depot was then set on fire. Unfortunately for the British, this affected the morale of the British Army very badly at that time, and that is one of the contributing factors to the loss of this area.
What didn't help as well was there was a large body of water, a reservoir, just right beside Ben's deck. And if you have watched previous episodes of Supernatural Confessions Recon, you will know what I think about bodies of water. They tend to store negative energy and spirits dwell within them. In one of the shots that we took of Chi-Chi, we think we might have captured an orb. The mood quickly turned dark when a sudden breeze brought with it a strong floral scent. Wayne thought he saw something in the trees looking at us. There were more than one.
We got lost. We lost our way.
We lost our way.
The two boys packed up quickly and left, but they couldn't find the track back. The place isn't huge, but in the darkness, the forest can look ominous. Sonia took point and Chi-Chi swept from the back. Together we found another way out of the area. The scent and the foreboding vibe faded away, but termites soon became our bigger problem when Mel accidentally stepped in a termite's nest. Perhaps the past isn't too far lost in time, and some of the memories still remain, even though the railroad may be long gone. Until next time, where we explore other places with a dark past. You're watching Supernatural Confessions Recon. I'm your host, Eugene Tay. Good night.
What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.